If you are not yet a member of the Patreon, link is in the description. Please consider becoming a member, as you will have access to many videos you cannot find here on YouTube. So about a year and a half ago, a video went viral on this channel where we decided to react to comedian Corey Holcomb, who decided to sit down with former NFL quarterback Cam Newton on his podcast and speak a little bit about Corey's time in Hollywood. And during this conversation, Corey Holcomb decided to share that popular artist and actor Will Smith is actually homosexual, and that this is a very commonly known thing in Hollywood. And for those of you that may not remember, Corey Holcomb actually got a little bit of pushback, not only from the audience, but also from Cam Newton as well, who said that he wasn't aware of this being an actual fact. Well, fast forward to the very first week in 2026, and we are looking at a lawsuit coming from a former employee of Will Smith and his management team. But what makes things even crazier is that the former best friend of Will Smith, who has made multiple accusations about both Jada Smith and Will Smith, actually predicted about a week before all of this became public that Will Smith would actually be getting sued. But he didn't stop there, because he accused Will Smith of much worse things. And if you haven't heard about this lawsuit as of yet, the guy who is suing Will Smith is claiming that Will Smith was trying to groom him, and he's accusing them of assault. But it's probably not what you think. In fact, this lawsuit is a little bit more weird than your typical lawsuit, so you might want to stick around if you haven't heard about it just yet.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
All right, just really fast before we hop into today's episode, I would like to just remind everyone that the link to my merch store can be found in the description, but you can also now find it in the store tab on my YouTube channel, which you couldn't find it before, but now it is openly available. So please feel free to check out the store. There are several different options and designs, and we have 7 to 10 new designs on the way here in the next couple of weeks. Appreciate you all support as always. Now let's get into the video. Welcome back to another episode of Diddy Got a Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Diddy. In today's episode, I want to speak a little bit about the lawsuit that Will Smith and his management team received just a few days ago. And I want to talk about the ex-best friend of Will Smith, who is sort of corroborating a lot of the things that Will Smith and his team has been accused of. And I want to talk about the school of Scientology and why it is that these things matter, because as I've always said on this channel, it's deeper than what a lot of people typically say, which is, why do you care what people do behind closed doors? Well, we matter when it involves people that are underage, and we also care when it involves blackmailing people, right? And the school of Scientology is going to become a reoccurring topic in this video, so stick around for that. Hit the like button on your way in. I would really, really appreciate it, so this video can be pushed to more people like yourself. Now, let's go ahead and hop into this. So there's a guy by the name of Brian King Joseph. And Brian King Joseph is a violinist, and he actually also appeared on America's Got Talent a few years back. So essentially what this lawsuit is about is, back in 2024, Brian King Joseph alleges that Will Smith's team reached out to him and offered him this opportunity to tour with Will Smith and his team in 2025. And between that time and the actual tour, Brian claims that he was invited to Will Smith's house, he was introduced to the team, and he would eventually start to rehearse with Will Smith and his team. Over this course of time, he alleges that he and Will Smith spent quite a bit of time alone, where Will Smith even allegedly once told him that he felt that he and Brian had some sort of special connection that Will Smith didn't have with the other people working on the tour. Brian said that he thought this was a bit weird, but he continued to go along with it. Well, according to Brian, things only became more weird the longer that he worked with them, because at one point on one of the trips, Brian alleges that he left his bag, and I guess one of the vehicles that they had rode in on the way to the hotel. When he asked the management team to grab the bag for them, they claimed to not have been able to find it right away. But then a short time later, they would return the bag to him, which he thought that was a bit weird. But things became even more weird when he returned to his hotel one of the days on the trip, where he alleges that someone had been inside of his hotel room without his permission. And the reason that he know this is because when he returned back to his room, there was allegedly some sort of handwritten note that was addressed to Brian which read, Brian, I'll be back no later than, I guess, 5:30. Just us, with the heart that was drawn on the note, Stone Elf. Now, we don't know who Stone Elf is as of yet. And it says here, among the remaining belongings were wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of HIV medication with another individual's name, an earring, and hospital discharge paperwork belonging to a person unbeknownst to Brian. Brian says that he would then report this to both the hotel staff and to Will Smith's management team, where he then states that nothing was allegedly done to sort of look into this. And in fact, he would eventually be contacted by a guy named, I believe, Tim, who says that on behalf of Will Smith and his team, everyone believes that Brian was making this story up and was choosing to just lie. Brian was confused and understand why anyone would think he would make this up. And shortly after, he was actually fired.
Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. Unfortunately, some things happened, and I can't get into the details of exactly what that was because it's already a legal issue right now. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that simply for reporting sexual misconduct or safety threats at work is not okay.
Now, what's actually interesting about this is that the attorney that is representing Brian King Joseph is actually the same attorney that's representing the accusers of Tyler Perry. And Brian actually stated that he believes, I don't know if he's alleging Will Smith to be the person that went into his room without his permission or not, but I do believe that he is alleging that Will Smith was attempting to groom him so that he can eventually become intimately involved with Brian at a later time, which was making him uncomfortable. Now, for those of you that are saying he has to prove this, we don't know if these things are true, I 100% agree with you. I don't know if Brian is telling the truth or not, but this is what I will say. After I share what Will Smith's own ex-best friend has been stating about Will Smith for the past 2 years, and the most recent time that he's been saying these things about Will Smith was just 2 weeks ago, then it just makes it a lot harder to listen to this lawsuit from Brian and not take it a little bit more serious. Because there is a guy by the name of Bilal, which is a very interesting name. It actually reminds me of Baal. No disrespect to you, bro, if you see this video, but it's just a very interesting name. I don't know if it's African or whatever it is. But anyways, there's a guy by the name of Bilal who is a proven known associate, or at least ex-associate of Will Smith. He's in pictures with him. He's listed in movie credits and music credits right alongside Will Smith. He's worked with Will Smith for about 30 years. No one can deny that these people knew each other. For those of you that don't know, Bilal has actually been making all sorts of accusations about Will Smith and Jada Smith, such as the fact that Will Smith is involved with men.
Then there was another interview with TMZ just after that where one of the cameramen asked Jada, hey Jada, have you seen Will with any men before? And her answer was no. So now that's a lie too, because I put out an interview with Will Smith grabbing Alfonso Rivera's penis, squeezing his nipple and trying to put his finger in his butt, right? So I think you played part of that on one of the interviews. So we're just getting people updated because I'm sure you have a lot of new vinyls since since 2 years ago. So after that, there was, they reached out to me through many people, one being Charles Austin, aka Charlie Mack, the federal informant. And he reached out to me through a friend.
States that Will Smith and one of his best friends, a guy by the name of Charlie Mack, actually did something to Will Smith's own son, Jaden Smith.
Right, one of my best friends.
Charlie Mack, is that the one that I believe, and I want to say allegedly, okay? Mm-hmm. Everything's alleged when my name's alleged. It was alleged that he had touched Jaden, Will Smith's Charlie Mack, his best friend?
Yeah, that's been alleged, yes. So I have to be very careful because we're engaged in lawsuits with Will and Jada.
Okay, so you don't want them adding extra claims.
Right, so...
That's what I heard.
So from my understanding,
what I heard. heard.
Right.
I don't know if it's
Right.
true. I
Right.
heard. Okay.
Right. From my understanding,
Okay.
allegedly it was Will and Charlie together that did something to Jaden. So that made him want to be emancipated. So people can read between the lines of that. But it was continual habit.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about it, I have that in the book. So the book is definitely still coming out, and I'm going to get into why later I wasn't able to put it out and what happened. And
Bilal also states that Stephen A. Smith was actually told by Will Smith and his team to come out and publicly denounce and ridicule the things that Bilal had been saying.
because what we did was, when we were going through this, Charlie was calling a lot of different influencers because he knows everybody just like me and telling them to say something bad, say he don't believe me, like the clown, what's his name, Stephen A. Smith, right? He did this whole opening on his show about Will and Jada and the comments that I made and looked in the camera and say, I don't believe him. Well,
Stephen A. Smith, he reviewed our interview?
I don't know if he reviewed the interview. Well, he had to listen because I made the allegation, but no, there were other interviews. So forth and so on. What I'm saying is that Stephen A. Smith commented on it.
Says that Will Smith and Jada Smith are actually Scientologists, or they fall under the umbrella of the School of Scientology, which we're going to get to here in a second.
Mind you, I'm in Colombia, I'm living. Now, I also talked about Jada and Will ties to Scientology, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I said, from my point of view, they were Scientologists, period. They were recruiting other people into Scientology. They opened a Scientology school. So all this stuff is happening, and they keep saying, wow, we're not Scientologists. I know why they not trying to say they Scientologists.
Why is that?
They know what they were doing in Scientology. So let me just
What were
say,
they
for
doing in
example,
Scientology?
let's take one of their good friends in Scientology by a guy named Danny Masterson.
Okay, shout out to Danny Masterson.
No, you don't want to shout him out.
Oh,
Danny Masterson.
introducing him.
Yeah, he's in jail for raping women in Scientology and received, I think it was 30 years or 30 to life. So no shout out. We taking that shout out back. We taking that shout out back.
He's where he's supposed to be.
And he's the actor from the 70s show. So he's famous. So it's not like it's just a regular guy. But what people said was within that trial that there have been a lot of celebrities that have come through Scientology and have abused people within Scientology, both men and women. We're talking about sexual abuse here, right? This is on the record. So now I'm going to leave it up to everybody else until we get to that part in court, why I feel that Will and Jada have committed sexual crimes from my point of view, things that I've saw and documented, that they have committed crimes on other men and women within Scientology.
But he also states that Will Smith, alongside Diddy and Charlie Mack, SA'd a young actor and musician by the name of Brashear Gray, with Bilal stating that Brashear actually told Bilal this himself, stating that he was forced to perform acts on some of them and he was actually raped by Will Smith.
So I arrived in Chicago for Empire. It's a damn mess. It's no other way to put it. This dude is going crazy, right? He's out there allegedly with male prostitutes. He's pissing in the trailer. He's acting psychotic, right?
The same thing he's doing now.
Beyond that. But this is why a show is going on, right? So I'm like, I pull him to the side, right? And I said, listen, I'm here to help you and so forth and so on. So he was like, all right, I feel that. He said, everybody on the set know you. Everybody seem like they love you. Okay. I want to love you because everybody else love you. I said, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But he kept acting up. And then one day I said, what the F is wrong with you? And he was like, you know. He said, you know Will me. You know Diddy made me suck his penis. You know what's going on. You know Charlie made me suck.
Great, I'm watching him, he's with my man Charlie Mack. So Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo. So Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love. and all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
It's like Uncle Will, you know, who is best to give you advice, and it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life, and it's like I'm listening from the greatest, and it's like making me well prepared to work with Taraji and Terrence Howard, you know.
And I said, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. So he crying, no blood is coming from his nose. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I'm like, yo, listen. So I grabbed my husband. I said, listen, I don't know. I didn't know what happened. Nothing. I was just asked to come.
Is this true?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let you about to see if it's true from the paperwork.
He stated that Jada Smith is a drug addict who performs sexual acts on herself while watching porn openly at her house, not caring who sees her doing it. States that he saw the actor Tyrese on tapes with Will Smith and Jada Smith. Says that Jada threatened his life.
Back to these alleged tapes.
Okay, let's go back to the alleged tapes.
Who else did you see allegedly on the tapes?
Tyrese was on there.
I'm so glad Tyrese ain't got no money to sue me right now.
And Charlie Mack was on there with Will. And allegedly, I would appear to be Tyrese with Will and Jada. Then the one with Charlie Mack and Will, Jada's not on it, but you can hear her say, make him spit up, period. So when these tapes come out, people will know I'm telling the absolute truth. Okay, yeah, so he invited me to his birthday party in King Richard premiere. It was a private screening. And at this, and this is inside the legal paperwork of the civil harassment lawsuit against Jada. So she comes up to me, put her finger right in my face with her nail, right? And told me that I better stop telling her business, keep my mouth shut, or I was going to catch a bullet and a beat down.
And two of, I think, the most important things that he said, even though a lot of those things are very damning things, they're very explosive allegations, two of the most intriguing things that he stated was, one, he acknowledged the fact that he understands that falsely accusing someone of doing something, especially accusing someone of doing something that you cannot prove, is a crime. So he states in this interview that if he understands that this is the law and he's still choosing to come out and say this, what should that tell us? He also states that despite the fact that Jada Smith has threatened to sue him, has threatened his livelihood, has even threatened his own life, he says that he can almost guarantee that Jada will never sue him because everything that he's saying is not only true, but he can actually back it up with receipts, and she knows it.
So just for your listeners to know really quick that I'm under penalty of perjury. If anything in here is a lie, my ass going to jail, period. There's no if, there's no ends, there's no buts. Whatever in these documents that were filed with the court in Los Angeles Superior Court, if they find one thing that is a lie, I'm going to jail. So this is my stance. This is my position. This is my conviction of how strong what I'm trying to say is true. That I'm going under penalty of perjury. So I must have some heavy information for this.
And the first time he made these allegations was like 2 years ago when he stated that he walked in on Will Smith and a guy by the name of Dwayne Martin having intercourse in Dwayne Martin's dressing room. And to our knowledge, he's never been sued for it, even though Will Smith and Jada Smith made a public response to this.
So back then, Jada was broke, and you know that through your interview with Laverne, right? So now...
Laverne did put you on the set that day that you said you walked in, and I have to say allegedly, seeing Will Smith murder the out of Dwayne Martin.
So
and she said you left that day. It was something that happened. It was abrupt, and you left. They couldn't find you. So she put you at the scene of the crime.
The other super intriguing thing that he stated was that he confirmed that freak-offs are not only real, which I don't think any of us actually questioned if they were real or not, but he stated that Will Smith 100% attended a lot of them, along with other male celebrities. but he specifically honed in on a specific quote unquote freak off that was one of the most popular topics of discussion during the Diddy trial, because there were these photos floating around that many people were saying was AI and fake of different girls and women laying on tables. And if any of you all have been following the channel long enough, then you remember that we covered all of this when it was taking place, including Allie Carter. A lot of people said that the girl was lying, but Allie Carter said not only was she not lying and how she knew about the things that Diddy was doing, but she also accused people like Barack Obama and Denzel Washington. I don't know if those things are true. I have no proof of that. I'm not saying that I believe her. But she stated the reason why she know these things are true is because she was one of the girls on the table with the fruits and vegetables being placed on and around her body. Well, Bilal actually in this interview confirmed that those actual freak offs are real and that Allie Carter was not lying.
You could have did a quick Google search and see, I got multiple movie credits with Will. I'm in the book, and if you go to my Instagram, that seals it right there.
TMZ is bought paper.
Right. So in my opinion, So in my opinion, they was giving TMZ a couple of those dollars. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now. So we thinking everything is over, right? After my accident, nobody's hearing from me. The Diddy stuff comes to light. Okay, so now everybody is separating themselves from Diddy. I go to my computer. I remember I went to a freak off party with Will. Well, I went to a party, but after the party became a freak off, right? So I send that out to every press person, right? Somebody picks the pictures up and put Will at Diddy's party. Will sitting up there.
Oh, you talking about the naked girl?
Yes,
and stuff on the table?
yes.
Yeah, I remember that. They was eating fruit off the naked woman.
Right, because they were saying, oh,
that was an all-white party.
Yep.
Right?
I forget where it was at, but all I know is I had the pictures, and when I sent the pictures out, they were everywhere. Now, Will, then after that, everybody's going in. Now, I could tell you what happened.
Will said on a stage with fake AI fans that he has never, ever been to a Diddy party.
Okay. And him and Diddy are not cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Jay-Z said that too.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you at the party and you up in here, you and Bruce Willis allegedly about the rumble because you text Bruce Willis inappropriate, allegedly.
And I would like to say that the last intriguing thing about all of this is the Scientology part. We've loosely spoken about the School of Scientology on this channel. For those of you that don't know, Scientology is this sort of new age religion, cult organization that Bilal, as you all heard him say, is this sort of multi-billion-dollar organization with its own police force and its own government. Well, even though a lot of people have heard about the School of Scientology, there's a lot of things people actually don't know about the School of Scientology, such as them teaching all of its members this idea or this concept that you are your own God, and that humans can work themselves or ascend to eventually become their own gods and overcome the ways of this world. They also teach the concept that age is not real, right? So essentially, they don't believe in children. So the idea or the concept of adults dating children or being intimately involved with children is something that they openly embrace, allegedly. They've also been accused of human trafficking. They've also been accused of working its members over 100+ hours a week with little to no pay. They've been accused of threatening people, making people disappear. And the fact that there are several celebrities that are a part of the School of Scientology, such as Tom Hanks and Will Smith, and a plethora of other celebrities, is part of the reason that have made the School of Scientology so popular and attractive for other people to join.
There you go. Now, Will Smith has started his own school. Wow. How's that going?
Yeah, well, I find this to be very, very fascinating. He had apparently donated $1 million to start a school called the New Village Academy of Calabasas, which is near his home. He has a compound in Calabasas. Anytime I've interviewed Will Smith, or you have to go out that direction, he likes to stay close to home. He's been homeschooling his own children, so it is kind of noteworthy that he started this school. And what some people, some eagle-eyed investigative people, have been quick to point out is that the director, some of the staff of the school, as well as some of the curriculum and even the language in the agenda of the school and the curriculum has ties to Scientology. It's very, very reminiscent of L. Ron Hubbard, Dianetic Scientology, and of course Will and Jada have always been sort of evasive when questioned about that because they're so close to Tom Cruise, arguably the world's most famous Scientologist, and while they've never said they were members of that cult, church, whatever you want to call the organization, it is interesting that the school seems to have so many ties to that, so people are going to be watching this very closely.
But one of the biggest things people don't know about the School of Scientology is that its founder is a guy by the name of Ron Hubbard, who actually used to study the occult, mysticism, and other esoteric teachings. And he was also heavily influenced by the one and only Aleister Crowley. If you all would like to see a deeper video or an entire video on the School of Scientology, I can definitely do that if you'd like. Just hop in the comment section and let me know. But the more important reason, the reason why I wanted to point this out is that the reason why we keep hearing these things about these celebrities, like a Diddy, which I was saying months ago, years ago, that whenever we hear these things about these celebrities, it's not just because these people are freaks or because they're just sex addicts. There are other things that are taking place, and there are other things that they believe in, like sex magic, like harvesting rituals, like sacrifices, like harvesting people's energy, especially young people. These are the things that they believe, and it's deeper than just assaulting people. So when you have a Jaguar Wright that comes out and says that everything that Bilal is saying is true, in fact, there were things that Bilal left out, such as the fact that it wasn't just Brashear Gray who was a victim of Will Smith, allegedly, but she claims that Will Smith's own son, Jaden, was present along with Justin Bieber and even the rapper Meek Mill. Again, I don't know if any of these things are true. I would also like to state for the record that it's not lost on me that this guy Bilal spent approximately 30 years around Will Smith. And if you expect me to believe that he didn't see any of this criminality, any of this weird behavior, any of this inappropriate behavior up until the point of him falling out with both Will and Jada Smith, then you have me mistaken, right? So I don't think he's off the hook either. He's no different from those that were around Diddy and R. Kelly enabling this behavior, and one could even argue benefiting from it, right? So I would like to state that for the record, that me simply stating in this video the things that he's accused or alleged about Will Smith and Jada Smith and others does not absolve him of any wrongdoing necessarily. Everything in this video is alleged. I'm just stating what these lawsuits say and the information that's out there. I'll leave you all to decide whatever you want to believe. But again, after you consider all of these other things that's been accused by credible people, by legitimate people that ran with these folks for decades, then the lawsuit by Brian King Joseph just seems a little bit more believable, right? But these are just my thoughts. I want to know you all's. Hop in the comment section and let me know. Link to my Patreon can be found in the description. Link to the merch store can also be found in the description. We have at least 7 to 10 more designs on the way. Please be on the lookout for that. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.